let's move on. It's alright, so 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 let's move on. We head for the sky, it's alright. Our wings wouldn't fly, it's alright. If we are crashing down again, pieces of love, it's alright. Scattered in mud, it's alright. You're giving me a lie again. And tell me what you want, this time I won't take it to the heart. Cause I know we won't make it out, I've heard it all before. Yeah, tell me what you want, let me hear that I'm the only one. You know that we won't make it out, we've heard it all before. It's alright. Hey, it's alright. Hey, it's alright. It's alright. It's alright, so let's move on. 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 Alright, so let's move on.
All right, it's all right. So let's move on to a live show of the office hours. I'm Nate Manahan. I'm here in Indianapolis, Indiana, and this is our weekly show, noon on Thursdays, just like we're getting live today. And we kind of just talk a little bit about things at Paprotech and ways that you can grow your business and grow your payments business here at Paprotech. But it's not me talking that you really want to hear. It is the trainers who make you the best payments professionals in the world, and that is Mr. Mike Stetzel and Mr. Jenny Rickel. How are you, Mike and Jenny, today?
Hello, hello.
How are you,
Good
Jenny and
morning.
Mike? You guys gotta get that energy. It is Sweet 16 day if you're a March Madness fan, but it's also 1 week left of March promotion. You have 1 week left to get all these deals in. Jenny, are you seeing some partners who have been, sandbagging all month and are getting those last deals in and getting those extra bonuses for the month of March?
I am seeing a few, and I'm actually seeing the newer agents that have joining the team actually taking advantage as well. So there's still plenty of time.
Nice.
Get those deals in. Yeah, take advantage of it while that opportunity is still there.
Yep. You can still even meet a new customer and get them signed up in time. And a reminder, you just have to get them submitted by March 31st, and you have to get them activated by April 20th to be eligible for those $300 and $500 bonuses extra on top of all the regular bonuses. So you have some time, but don't wait too long. It's not that much time. So let's get going. All right. Today we're going to talk about, now you have these new merchants. How do you keep them? Because the best way to grow your business is to keep your business, because what we know is good merchants will continue to grow. The more their volume grows, the more your residual grows. And if you're always just, signing one new merchant and losing one new merchant, that is not the way to go. You want to sign 10 merchants and lose 0 merchants and continue growing that portfolio and growing that residual. So we're going to talk about that today. And I'm going to go to Mike first on this. Mike, what are some of the things before you even, when you first talked and set up the merchant, what are some of those things that you can do to kind of help merchants from the very beginning, thinking in the long term, that you're going to keep them for a long time?
Well, that's a great question. First off, I think even as you make the first call to this merchant, frame yourself as the local lady or man, and let them know, hey, you know what? I've never been in your business. I just stopped down and saw John at the gas station, and I thought as a neighbor, I want to come in and say hello. So put them in mind that Hey, I'm the local guy. I'm in this area all the time. Or, hey, you know what? I just came from getting coffee across the street and I thought I'd stop over here. So that's one. You want to frame yourself as the boots on the ground and the person that's going to be there to help when the time comes. And then you can flat out explain that when you're talking to them. Is, Mr. Merchant, my job is to be out in our community creating relationships with people so I can get the opportunity, hopefully, at some point in time to help them with their merchant processing needs. And whether that means, and then you could go down the list of the things that we offer. If you recall, there was an episode that we recorded yesterday that should be live now. We talked about the advantage of having a point of sale in someone's office or business, or having cash discount in someone's business. Those are ways that you establish yourself in their business for a long period of time, hopefully, because they're not paying fees or they have this special piece of equipment. But most importantly, you want them to walk away and say, man, Mike's my credit card guy. As soon as they hear that question brought up at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, who do you use for credit card processing? Oh, you got to call Mike Stetzel. He's my guy. Well, what company's with? I don't know. I'll just get you Mike's number, because if you're doing your job as a sales partner, it's your name they remember, not the orange fireball logo that you see here. It's you. And that's that reputation you want to continue to build. I think I've more than covered that. I probably went outside my question.
That's all right. That's all right. Well, and what we always say is you are your brand. You are the person representing yourself, whether you're doing it in your hometown or you're doing it across the U.S., doing it through a call center. You have to make sure you know what you're talking about and make sure they're confident in you. One of the best ways to do that is, and the easiest is and so many of our partners do that, is owning an area in a geographic area. But Jenny, I'm going to come to you. You mentioned we have a lot of partners putting in new business. They're either new to PayProTech or maybe even new to payments as a whole. Maybe they're just starting to get started. How did they build confidence, and set themselves up for success long term when they are just starting out? What are some of the things they can do to help set themselves up, thinking long term, trying to retain these merchants, keep them for the years when they're just starting out, both with either PayProTech or even more so when they're just starting out in payments and maybe they don't know as much?
Great question. So I would say have a really good understanding of the equipment that we offer, not the ins and outs of all the technical support, but really just the general idea of, okay, what is mobile? And if it's mobile, is there an additional fee? Or what is a countertop option? And if so, what are those connections? Really, a business owner needs some good equipment that's reliable and that they don't have to be coming to you for support every other day, right? So if they need a simple countertop solution, you don't want to set them up with something that's mobile with a lot of buttons, and vice versa. If they need something that's small and mobile, make sure that we utilize that pay anywhere option. So really understand the equipment. And in addition to that, pricing, keep it simple. So really understand the pricing along with any additional fees that they might encounter with that equipment. And then you can set that expectation up from the beginning, and then they really have a good idea of what they're signing up for and really are confident in the products that you're offering. Nate, are you
Oh,
in mute?
I muted
There we
myself.
go.
I
Okay.
did. I had a cough and I muted myself. That's
Okay,
what
was
happens
that
in life.
me?
Hey, I'm going to say my question the second time. It's going to be so much better. You guys didn't get to hear it the first time.
Say it faster.
But Mike, I was coming back to you. What are some of the things that you've learned now for having done this, coming up on 7 or 8 years of
8 years.
8 years of helping out partners, that are some things we can learn from, some of the mistakes you've seen by setting up partners or merchants maybe with the wrong equipment or the wrong pricing? And what are some of the things that you've seen that we can learn from, say, avoid this?
Oh, another good one. Another good question. And prior to this, I spent 30 years managing hotels and restaurants. So I've been the victim of some really bad salespeople and vice versa. But, Nate's saying that the one thing Nate says is, so let's say you walk into this merchant, you're talking with them, they describe what they're using now, and you look at that terminal, it's just a plain old credit card terminal. And so you say, but Mr. Jones, let me show you some of the smart devices we use, and let me name a few of the features that this will do for you over and above that dumb terminal that will help you as a small business person. Well, Mike, you know what? I am not into the bells and whistles at all. So just get me a plain credit card machine. Well, let me try to overcome those objections. And so in the end, you tell him that he should have a pay anywhere terminal, and we'll just run it as just as a credit card machine. So we do that. Gentleman gets a terminal. He says, Mike, I said I didn't want any of this fancy stuff. Oh no, we turned the features off. Yeah, but Mike, this touch screen, this, it's just not for me. And so now you have a frustrated customer because you wanted the higher bonus maybe, or you wanted it just to be simple and here's what I normally sell. Instead of hearing, and we still have these customers, just get me a credit card machine. That's all I want. I don't care about the other things you have. So now you have a frustrated customer. And you could have alleviated that by better active listening in the beginning of the process and getting them the terminal that's really right for them.
Listening is so important to and it's something probably we're not the best at sometimes because we're focused on getting that sale. And it's our fault sometimes, Jenny, isn't it? Because we incentivize the pay anywhere products with higher bonuses, but maybe that's not the right product for that merchant or the right fit. And we set them up. What are some of the things specifically with pay anywhere to make sure to do best practices? What are the best merchants for pay anywhere? And what are some of those merchants that maybe to avoid those pitfalls that we would avoid when that we even incentivize? Hey, do pay anywhere, you're going to get a bigger bonus, but maybe it's not the right fit here. Let's look for the long term here. What are some of those things that you would advise about pay anywhere?
Yes. So first thing I think about for Pay Anywhere is the connection type. So if somebody really needs a countertop solution or if they need mobile, I usually weigh on the side of Pay Anywhere for a mobile type of setup. And then for countertop solutions, they really need a strong connection for Ethernet or Wi-Fi. So if they have a dial-up connection, make sure that they go to like an Ingenico type of setup. So that's like the first and foremost, because if they don't have a strong connection, then during the day when they're just trying to do business as usual, they encounter some type of communication issue and they're calling tech support. So connection is really a big factor when choosing Pay Anywhere. Also, take a look at the business owner. Some people are really into savvy technology, right? Pay Anywhere is beautiful. It's really, I find it simple to use. But if you have somebody who likes traditional, likes the countertop selection, and just wants something really simple, we have that option for them. Those Ingenicos are great and they're free placement and they're very reliable as well. So really think about the connection and then also the cashiers, who's using it and what kind of technology would they like to utilize throughout the day.
How do we, Mike, how do we set our partners up to be best at support? Because they know, we were in our pre-show, we were talking about that even our best partners can't do some of the technical support, can't do the customer support. The people actually have to call in. But what can they do to set that up front to really help the merchant and to make sure that when they need support, they're getting the fastest and easiest support? What are things they can do ahead of time?
This is a fine line. This is a tough one. So what I have found is that most of us that sell to merchants want our merchants to, hey, you know what? Give me a call if you need something. Now, as we were talking before the show, typically there's not anybody that's doing this show right now or any partner in the field that can tell you why a merchant's bank deposit didn't go in this morning. Just can't. I cannot troubleshoot your Pay Anywhere smart device. So realistically, if you could build a chart for them, almost like an org chart, technical support and customer support, you would call these numbers, call me for this, all these types of things, that would be ideal. But as I've said in other shows, if you're doing your job, they're going to call you first. And so your best bet then is to always have the customer support and technical support numbers handy. There's also a couple ways to handle that. I know agents that will put a three-way call together now with tech support on the line to make sure that their merchant finds their way through and gets their problem solved in that call. And also, you're making that merchant feel more comfortable. They'll do the same thing with customer support. Worst case scenario, you should have the numbers available for them the first time they call you. Some partners put that on their voicemail. You could, in some cases, transfer them, depending on what kind of phone system you use. But just be prepared for whatever they need, to know that if something's wrong with equipment they're using, know who you're going to direct them to. If something's wrong with, need to change something on my account, I need to answer a question about my account, and you can't answer it, you need customer service then. So just being prepared to get them to the right place. Thank them for calling you, that you are glad to always be kept in the loop and aware of what's happening, because it's your job in the end, my job, Mr. Merchant, to assure you're happy with PayProtect. So be prepared.
And it's customer support is it's sometimes it's a no-win. You're never going to be 100% at it. We're not 100%. And part of making sure that you can triage when things don't go right, something goes wrong. With every merchant, there's a chance. We try to be 100%, but no one bats 100%, no, or 1,000%. There are times that things are going to go wrong. And a good way to fix that is to really make sure that you build a rapport, a relationship, and become trustworthy. What are some of the ways you see our partners, Jenny, doing that? Being able to really build that trust. So even when something goes wrong, the machine breaks, the PAX device, goes crazy, or the deja vu, and those are things we can't control. We're not in charge of those, how those things are built, but they still overcome it because they've built that relationship and the rapport. What are you seeing our partners doing that are successful in that?
Well, really, reach out to us as the relationship manager. So when a terminal does go down, we can help assist and make sure that the swap is issued if it hasn't been already, and make sure that it's shipped out overnight. And so they get a new terminal the next day. If somebody's missing their funds, reach out to us if they're not able to determine why. Like Mike was speaking, we don't have access to see that information, but we can at least help navigate through the channels to determine what is going on and help resolve it as quickly as possible. And so to create that relationship with your business owner, just let them know, hey, even though I don't have all the access, I'm here. I'm going to go through this with you. I'm going to help and make sure that this is resolved. And that's where we really, really like to strive. We have those connections, we have that support, and we are really to help with issues that you might encounter on a day-to-day basis with the merchants.
I think two things have really helped us with longevity, with keeping merchants for a long time. Edge, cash discount pricing, and POS Pros. Those two things have really helped us make sure that merchants stay with us for a long time. Mike, I'm going to have you talk about Edge. Why is Edge such a great retention tool for merchants to stay for a long time?
Thank you, Nate. One quick thing to piggyback on Jenny is let's say your merchant calls, and as Nate says, we're not perfect. Let's say they get an answer that you're like, what, that doesn't seem to solve the problem. Do like Jenny said, contact your relationship manager. That's why we have the relationship with you. If we need to escalate something, we're glad to do that as well. Okay, to your point, Nate, Edge, the merchant's not paying any fees. They like you. They like our customer service and tech support. Hopefully, they not even need to use it. Where are you going to go? It gets rid of the old school, Mr. Merchant, I can come in here. I'm going to save you. I'm going to cut it in half, cut your costs in half. Now, whether they can do that or not is, whether that's smart for them or not was totally off the table. That's how we would go out. And I say we as in an industry, not PayProtect necessarily. And all we had to do was fight for ways to save you money versus a relationship, versus now you don't have to pay fees. So if you like everything about us and you don't pay fees, where would you go? I say this every day as I train people. Why would they leave you? Only because you've made them mad, or we've done something as a company with customer support or tech support that's frustrated them. But we have the solutions to those things. So when we say to a merchant, I'm not going to hold you to any agreement. There's no early termination fees to leave this agreement. But I ask you, if there's ever a problem that you're not happy with, please call me. So that should be all we have to do, is if something comes up, we solve the problem for them and we keep them forever.
I think that is so important. And Jenny, I'll close with this before we do our little wrap up here, as we had a good 20-minute discussion already. It goes by fast. POS Pros, we talked about that in our most previous show that we actually did yesterday. You can go to our office hours on YouTube, and soon you can subscribe. So look for that POS Pros episode. But being able to put someone with the right technology really does, and that runs more of their business, really does help with retention. When they're happy, they stay for a long time, don't they?
Absolutely. And that's why I really, really think that the POS Pros are a great tool. Some people just need, every business is different, right? They all have individual setups, they all have individual needs. And as a sales partner, it's really important, especially when it comes into the equipment category, to make sure that they're set up for success from the beginning, so that even if it is a larger POS system or a smaller type of Ingenico with a dial-up connection, get them set up right away, and then they're good to go. They really are.
When we're doing business, I spreadsheets and things. A lot of times we'll post lifetime value. What is the lifetime value of the merchant? Well, that's one of the most important things. A lot of times we think, oh, hey, I can make that $300, $600 upfront bonus. I can make that, 12, 14x multiplier. But really what you want to think is, what can I make if I make $100 a month off from this merchant because I'm serving them, and I do that for 5 years, 7 years. The difference of that versus getting someone who just stays with you for 12 months or 13 months is astronomically. And we're starting to think lifetime value really helps us think through how to retain customers and to grow our portfolio. Jenny, Mike, are there any other things you would say that I missed in asking that really helps make sure that customers are set up the right way and we retain them for as long as possible? Last things? Anything?
I know people that send their customers Christmas cards. I know people that take gifts to their customers at Christmas, whether it's a small pack of chocolates or a bottle of wine. I mean, there are people that get very serious about this, and you would find their retention to be, great. So it goes back to the same thing. Are we going to stop by and have a cup of coffee once in a while, or just visit, say hello? I was just in the area, so I'd say hi. So anyway, yeah.
Well, and I think one of those tools, that gives me, I just wrote it down as a future option, but things like send out cards or amazing mail, I've used both. Yeah. I currently use send out cards, where you can make it an easy way, but you're sending out, and you just program in it. You get a new customer and you say, I'm going to send them 4 physical pieces of mail, and you just let that system do it. You don't even have to, you can spend time more customizing it, but you can just say, hey, I want to do extra, and set yourself apart, and that will make merchants stay with you longer. As we close up here, it is March. March Madness will be done when, next Thursday when we do the show, we'll have 12 hours or so left of March. What do you say to our partners, Jenny, about finishing strong this month of March and getting those extra bonuses?
Let's go. Go ahead, get those deals in, take advantage of Edge, go get a POS system and use the POS Pros, sign them up, take advantage of this, get that free money. It's a great opportunity. So get it while you can.
Let's do it. And Mike, closing words as we finish up March. And 1 week. How does this go by? The first quarter is almost done. Closing words for our partners as we get done with this last week of March?
Again, I'm not the best cheerleader on our team. I know that. I'm this is excited. And that's what it is. I mean, we can see, and we've all seen here at PaperTech, watching these deals come in, and they're getting free money. $300, $500. Go get one deal. Go get 2. Go get 3. You can make an extra $1,000 or $1,500 still this week, in this next calendar week. It just seems amazing to me. It seems so easy.
It is. It's easy money, and it's an opportunity. Even, right now you can go out, sign up a merchant, and in a couple weeks you can take your significant other out for a really nice meal, or just treat yourself, as they may say. And if you're a Parks and Rec fan, just go treat yourself with that $300 or $500. So on that, we say thank you, guys. We will see you next week. Thanks for all who are watch this. If you have questions, ideas, concerns, email them to me at nmanahan@papertech.com, and we'll see you next time on Office Hours.